Hey there folks, and welcome to another GT7 weekly challenges of November week 2, and that was November 14th to November 20th. Starting with the European FR Challenge 550 at Hatch Grand Prix Circuit, which I am driving a Mercedes 300 SL Coupe of 1954. In other words, a very old, fun sports car you can still drive to this day, technically. But basically, for the Mercedes 300 SL Coupe, I basically did a 217 mph build to 350. In other words, basically max performance for this car, because yeah, that's how much this car can get pushed at the end of it. With the base motor it has in mind, until they add some engine swaps for this. Shock speed, there's not engine swaps for this yet. But in case you want to know the livery here, this livery is based off of Mafia 2, done by me at the end of it. So the number's different, because that number there, that's not the normal number, I will say. So I think it has a different number, matter of fact. But yeah, basically just based off the Mafia 2 final I saw for the knockout 300 SL that's in that game and stuff. Yeah, it looked pretty good. It's like based in a maroon or burgundy red there. There's some stripes and a little bit red on the outlines of the stripes. Getting that really old style, old school fun finish to it. No, it's really good at the end of it. Yep, so they just hauling butt with this car at the end there, because I might as well just get done over with. This thing goes. So yeah, definitely gonna be a lot of high flowers in this week these, because yeah, they mostly be basically high performance cars at the end of it. It doesn't mean I can't have fun with these, but yeah, I definitely gonna drift the crap out of this car as soon as I pass this one. Yeah, some of these cars get very fun when you hit in high performance, and this is one of them, surprisingly. As old as this car is, this is one of the old ones. Besides the Abarth Bespoto, because I think the Abarth Bespoto is the other old one, and I think that's 1952, where this one's 1954. So yeah, the car standards were just coming along, I gotta say, around this period. Although I will say more of a prototype standards, the real standards didn't happen until around the 60s, I would say. I would say like 10 years in advance. Because yeah, 1950s they were still kind of just old bodies, I recall. I mean, that doesn't mean they were bad, but you know, I mean, fundamentally, structurally they're bad, but that doesn't mean you just turn around and remodernize it with like the 90s parts or something to make it good once again, or if not better than what it was. I mean, there's a reason why the Ford Roadster exists in this game, so you know, that's a car that has some modernized parts and a Chrysler motor, which shocks me to this day on that when I did the tryouts for that. Because yeah, for those that have not watched the tryouts, yeah, the Ford Roadster has a Chrysler motor. So yeah, it shocks me on that. I will say one funny thing I noticed about this event is that majority of the roster here is just nothing but BMWs and stuff. It's like, oh my god, so it's basically Mercedes versus BMW. Because yeah, there is a Mercedes, you'll be seeing them at the back. So I hope the Mercedes doesn't take that personally. I did. It's just kind of funny. I was like, oh, the 190Es here, but it's in the back. You just see all these other BMWs going at each other. But yeah, you got like an M3 to Z8, you got the 3.0 CSL, and you got the 190E just sitting back here. Just goes it along. Don't mind it. It does not exist in the competition for some reason. But here's to Mercedes for me winning for them in honor. They slapped the crap out of BMWs. Even though I am terribly broken and definitely unfair for the competition at the end of it, because they're just sports hard tires. Sports hard tires, I would say sports speed BMWs, where I'm driving that, you know, grade 4 speeds of, well, grade 4 is loosely, I would say for these cars' case, super speeds of 350 kilometers per hour, or in other words, 217 miles per hour. Yeah, this is gonna be in the future tryouts, but it's gonna be a long while till I get a hold of this car once again. But for now, I just showed the car and stuff, fun stuff at the end there. Cause yeah, if you love classic to drive in terms of European style, this is definitely one of them. I will say, probably costs a pretty penny though. I think it's like 1.8 mil or something like that. Not as ridiculous as the race car though. The race car is like 20 mil, if I recall. And the race car is older because, matter of fact, the production version got produced until later. So now onto the Japanese Clubman Cup 550 at Tokyo Expressway South counterclockwise, which I am driving a Honda NSX Type R 1992 in I believe sports speed, maybe the 200. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's sports speed. In sports speed, just at 276 horsepower, because that's all it needs to hit sports speed, to be honest. Although, I say sports speed because this is technically a vintage, or not vintage, but old race, or not race car, old supercar at the end of it, because yeah, this was the time where supercars were this fast, I must say. Which shocks me how much supercars have jumped in a 10-year gap, if you think about it. Yeah, within the 10-year gap, the supercars had the speeds of 276. Nowadays, if you jump another 10 years, it's like 400 there, and then another 10 years, it's like 600, and then another 10 years, it's like 800. We are hitting like very pressing speeds, like I say, like crazy speeds at the end of it. But I'm gonna be honest, at the end of it, supercar really doesn't need to hit 800,000 at the end of it. It just needs a higher the max at the end of the day. That's what you're paying the supercar for. And the NSX clearly shows that. It's just the problem is there's so many meatheads that want a high-powered, ridiculous supercar at the end of the day. And the NSX was that perfect supercar. Sadly, got killed by people because people didn't want to pay for this car at the end of it. You know, in comparison to a Ferrari, this was only 100 grand. Only 100 grand. That is not that bad, like I said. And I guess technically the same case with the newer one, although the newer one has more fair share of problems because I think people were expecting the same thing from the NSX, which in terms of body style, like example, that rear style is iconic. When you see the NSX, that rear style like that, oh my god, it looks so good. And then the front with the pop-up lights and stuff, because yeah, I will say that was probably the bad part about the 2002, as you just saw previously there, is that it has weird lights, but it was a start. I will say they could have got better front lights at the end of it, I find. But to say the NSX Type R is a phenomenal machine at the end of it, as this is basically, I would say, NSX with a rate reduction of 1 at the end of the day. Without the, if I recall, I think it took the AC unit out, for example. So yeah, it's just a street, I want to say a sports package NSX at the end of it. With the iconic exhaust, even though I took it out with the race exhaust instead. Although, I will say something, I do think that exhaust is kind of important because when you take the race one off and you go back to normal one, you'll notice the car's technically faster too on top of it. And the other crazy thing about the NSX, this thing's a drift machine, I will say. That impresses me hardcore. It's like crazy. It's super crazy at the end though. And such. So yeah, that's basically the NSX there. So yeah, in terms of contestants here, we have the GR Super RZ, which yeah, ends up being a tar out of that. RX-7 Spirit R, not surprised. The NSX Type R 2002, which as you can see, the front lights are a little different because they tried to, they phased out the front pop-up lights because pop-up lights were apparently dangerous. Apparently. Then you got the Sprinter Truno, the Fairway Z version, which I will say, when it comes to pop-up headlights, I think the real reason is the automotives didn't want to pay for the motors that functions for the headlights at the end of the day. So as a result, they just phased them out at the end of and such. So yeah, that NSX was the point of when headlights started phasing out like big time and such. Yeah, we also got the R33, the Fairway Z34, PR86RZ, But yeah, I'm surprised how well it's keeping along with the R33 there. Then again, that is a sports car nowadays, so, you know. I guess it tells you how far we come along in comparison here, as this car kind of keeps along with the R33 at the end of the day, even though I'm still going to say the R33 destroys that at the end of the day. The Lancer Evo 6, I believe. That's not the newer one. That's like, oh wait, no, that says 4. Okay, so Lancer Evo 4. Okay, yeah, that's just before the dirt one. And then you have 5 and yeah, okay, I'll stick it there. Cause yeah, 5 and 6 is Tommy Mackinnon one. Well, 5 loosely, but 6 is Tommy Mackinnon. Yep, so this is driving the NSX Type R then, and having fun with that. You know, so, like I said, this car is ridiculous when it comes to drifts and stuff. Really good and such. I am still very shocked at the fact that this car hits only 276 horsepower, which when I say that it technically hits the gentleman agreement horsepower, it still does a wondrous job up this at the end of the day. But then again, I mean, it is a old supercar, and old supercars kick ass back then too, so, you know. I mean, unless your name's Ferrari back then of 80s, I would, where they're just heavy and clunky back then, where later on they finally re-edged themselves, thank God. That's when I say re-edged themselves at having the F40, which F40's got to. Probably the one car they needed. Just driving the NSX Coast along, so let's have fun with it. Yeah, how crazy you can drift with this at the end of the day. Ridiculous. Very ridiculous. Has anyone not tried this as a drift car? Because I kind of wonder. Good God, this thing rips. That's what shocks me the most. It's like, whoa. Yep, so now we're getting close to getting done with this course at the end of the day. Just want to flip it around one more time. It's good because I just can't believe how crazy this is. That's you try whipping this car out a bit more. Yeah, that basically wraps up for that event at the end of the day. Now on to the next one, which is the special event. Which is the Hyundai Elantra one-make race at Red Bull Ring. Elantra Inn, I should say. Yep, so I'm driving the Elantra Inn, which I think at 350 kilometers per hour. Cause yeah, I think I upped it a bit because it looked like it needed it at the end of the day. Because I was going to do the 200 miles per hour. I think I come to realize that you want to do the 200 miles per hour with the basically around 600 WTC range, I would say. Not there, because when you have it there, it's kind of weird. It's like the 200 mile per hour is like really in between for some reason, and I don't understand that. So, but yeah, this bunch of Elantra Inns going at it at the end of the day. I have no idea if any of these are custom cars. I assume maybe they are, for the most part. I think just the blue, black, I don't remember the yellow. I think that yellow one's custom, matter of fact. That looks very custom. So yeah, I don't even see the red. Okay, yeah, that's safe to say. For the most part. But in terms of this event, it's just gonna be basic, so I'm just gonna drive as quick as I can as this thing goes. Yeah, when it comes to these one-make events, I would recommend just high-grade cars. Don't even go with the slow ones. That's how boring these events are for one-make series races, because they're just terrible. Not fun to do. I mean, unless your name's either the Viper one-make event or your name's either the Skyline one-make event, then it's fine, because they actually go out of their way and customize them to be a bit more crazy. But for this case, no. It's just like, oh, here's the car. It looks beautiful, don't it? Yeah, it looks beautiful, but that's all I'm getting out of it. And not a speedy, competitive pace at the end of the day. You know, You know, there looks like there to be a temp to the yellow one specifically. I don't even know what to say to that at the end of the day. That's hilarious. Oh yeah, I guess that one's a little bit custom because that's a Grand Turismo livery on the top, but that's really what it's got going on there. Besides different front, different back. I will note, unlike the other one makes, I will give this a bit of a slight edge to it. At least they did kind of somewhat attempt just a tad to then at the end of the day, because I got a reminder that, yeah, these guys are kind of keeping along in some ways. I say some ways, they're definitely going to divide eventually here. It's just, it does have a bit of a pace difference, I would say, to a normal stock Hyundai. Because yeah, if you take a normal stock Hyundai, it's not going to be the same. So it is at least slightly different, but I will say I still think they need to just dash it just a tad bit more. If they dash it a tad bit more, I think it's right on the perfect line, because this car hits perfectly in the Group 4 kind of speed, so you kind of want to give it that 350 kilometers per hour. So, although I think when I tune Group 4 cars, I think they're going to be hitting just 200. I don't know if they could hit 350. If they can, I'll try it, but we'll see. For the most part. Otherwise, just enjoy the event as is, because yeah, it's Red Bull Ring, which Red Bull Ring definitely not my favorite. I know like there's probably some who like this track at the end. To me, something's off about this track to me. I don't know why. I like the back portion of the track, but the front portion never hits me right, because you really got to swing in these corners at the end of the day. Maybe it's more of a skill issue. It's probably just a skill issue, but whenever it comes to these jab-like corners, these corners are a pain in the ass to get through at the end of it. But I think this is how, you know, racing is at the end of it, so I can't, you know, complain, but, you know, it is a bit of a track that I just do not like. Maybe it's because also the freaking White Rabbit also races on this track too. No reason I hate this track. Thanks, PTSD. This thing goes. Yeah, just looking at the Lantrans at the end there, you got your stocks, you got your tuned ones a little bit. Yeah, because I think the one in the far back is just stock. Big old white stock one. And then you got the Ionic Blue. I believe that's what it's called. But yeah, to this day, I still thought this was going to be an electric car. This is not an electric car. It's really weird. If anything, what's special, what the N stands for actually means, it's the transmission it has. So a special transmission, you can do with that at the end of the day. And you would think it'd be a CVT. I don't think it is, because it's functionally feels like a transmission at the end of it. It's a very power entrusted transmission. Very odd. Very odd for the most part. It does make me wonder if there's like a hybrid system of a transmission that you can do to a gas motor at the end of the day and get extra power out of a transmission at the end of the day, even though it's weird to say that, but you know. But the transmission's powered by the hybrids, or the, you know, gas at the end of it, so it technically sucks in more gas just for more power. But it is an interesting ideal to maybe tap into, maybe. Or maybe that's what this exactly does, but it's not a hybrid, because otherwise you would have a battery charge somewhere. But it does make me think, like, there could be a train that has a hybrid system at the end of it. It would be very innovative, it would be very odd, and I don't even know if it would even work. It's the worst part. It's just up in there. It's just a really up in the air ideal. I kind of think sometimes. And such. I know a lot of automotives do a lot up in the air kind of things. It just makes me wonder on that. See, I get around the last bit of the bends of the corners, as the saying goes. Couple of jabs rear here. Cause yeah, I like these jabs here. These are nice jabs here. It's just the first two jabs of turns when you start this track and forward. They're kind of pain in the butt to get through. Cause that is a matter of pace right there along. Those first two corners are the matter of pace right there. The rest of it's not so bad. It's basically regular course at that point. It's really wicked two jabs at the most part. But now on to the World Touring Car 600 at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. Yeah, I gotta change the transition on that when it comes to semi-final races, basically. But here is the Corvette ZR1 C4, and it's been eons since I last drove this, I must say, because last time I drove this was the 600 tryouts. So, driving it once again. Because yeah, speaking of cars I haven't drove for a while, besides the NSX, it's the Corvette ZR1. So I decided to drive this, and let's see, I think I did 200. Yeah, I did 200 mile per hour trials because that works perfectly for 600 WCC, as you can see here. Because it's on sports mediums and it has 371 horsepower, I believe, or something like that. It's a little cluster, but with that, it's just good enough to hit 200 miles per hour, which is shocking. To be honest, it's very shocking on that matter. But yeah, they can do it. So just doing what is considered the toughest 600 WTC to me to this day is this event here, and the reason why this event is because the Galador in the front and the rough RGT in the back. Because that RGT, he runs with it. He will run you down at the end of the day. He's a fast competitor. So be on the warrant for that guy, basically. And then of course the White Rabbit's here, but he's not much of a butt here because I think it's solely because there's not a lot of corners to provide. Even though this whole front bit of Atlanta is all about corners, it's just I think that straightaway is the big doom for that car at the end of. Because this Atlanta's weird because it's technically a balance course because you have all this ups and downs, and then you have the big straightaway that shoots you across. It has like everything you could technically want in a track at the end of the day, and that's why this is one of the American Le Mans tracks, or if anything, it is the American Le Mans track. I do kind of wish for it being representative of Le Mans that it has the Le Mans pace in terms of length, but they don't, so it's hard to judge it that way. Because yeah, you look at Le Mans, 4 mile track, you look at this, a mile or two, I think technically just a mile. But yeah, the comparisons are so off, but I will say by beam though, it looks pretty good. This track looks pretty good. So in the crazy downhill portion though, that is the most craziest corkscrew and downhill I've ever kind of seen besides Laguna Seca. Laguna Seca tops it still. But if there's one thing Michelin Atlanta has, it's the big straightaway. That big straightaway is a big matter. But yeah, this track was either built or founded by Penos Racing, which Penos is a automotive that was in Gran Turismo for the Esperante race car, which yeah, famous GT1 race car that I hope that comes back someday. I do hope that is another race car to come back, because the Esperante GT1 was a very interesting and special car in a lot of people's minds when it comes to GT3. Definitely one of the big icons I can think of. Considering GT3 doesn't really have a lot of new cars when it came to that one. It was basically Gran Turismo 2, just up-res and high def and I would say engine tweaked and everything else on that matter. With some special cars here and there when it came to Gran Turismo 3. Certain the Vitz. The Toyota Vitz, or in other words the Toyota Yaris if you live in Europe, because they don't want to call it the Vitz because the Vitz is a bad name over there, as you see. Because I believe it's either a slang or it's just a bad word. So technically, from here on out, just call it the Yaris. Because yeah, that was the Yaris originally, because before it became the GR Yaris that we see now today. Stuff. But yeah. So in this contest, we have a lot of competitors from the REM Amiga to RGT, as I mentioned earlier, the NSX 2017, but not the same NSX from the Tokyo Expressway long course. I'm just gonna say long course. The speed course, in other words. GR Super RZ, the WRX STI S, I believe. I think it's supposed to be an S. Hopefully we get the special model, which is the S20 S201. You got the DB11, which, yeah, speaking of DBs, would be nice to get that DB10, but I know because of James Bond exclusive rights on that one, good luck. You got the 911 GT3 2001, Cat's favorite. That thing goes. You get the F-Type R Jaguar, which is a beautiful car, and to this day, Jeremy Clarkson got one now, which is cool. Mercedes AMG GTR. I think that's a GTR. I hope that's a GTR. It's not just a GT, because I know there's like 3 AMG GTs. There's the Alfa Romeo 4C, which I'm surprised it's up here at this point. The GTR Nismo, I'm not shocked because that thing moves. And it's kind of weird because he switches from the GTR Nismo to the regular GTR when it comes to the big event. So it's weird. Then you got the Lamborghini Gallardo LP564. Which the 4 stands for the 4-wheel drive. Because this is when Lamborghini made the move and decided to go all-wheel drive. Such. I will say this is the second revision. This ain't the original revision of the Gallardo, which is fine because I like the second revision way more than the first one. The first one was too blocky. The second one smooths out all the errors that the Gallardo has, and it's probably my most favorite Lamborghini out of the bunch. Even more than the Murcielago. Murcielago is nice, but the Gallardo just hits it just right by having both of the block and the curveness of edges at the end of it. It looks super nice for a car. For Lamborghini. Even though it's known as the baby Lambo, but it is a super good Lambo at the end of it. Considering it's the same motor that is later in the Audi R8, by the way. It's just more tunified for Lamborghini's needs, because yeah, I will say Lamborghini is now still collab with Audi at the end of the day, because you know they're technically owned by Volkswagen at the end of the day, so you know. And Audi is the higher division, as you can see, while Lamborghini is the performance side to Audi at the end of the day. It's really weird. It's a mindfuck, I will say. But yep, the Corvette ZR1 at the end of the day did it. I will say it's definitely more to the sports medium tires at the end of the day. If there's anything else I probably had to do was tweak the spoiler to be a bit more turning, because yeah, it hits like 598 or something like that, so I just swear to up it. Now to the Grade 1 Prototype Series at Suzuka Circuit. It's the final shebang. Got the 919 Hybrid, a car I just recently bought, because yeah, I haven't bought all the LMPs yet, for the most part, and this is on my list. And then there's one more I need to buy too after this one, which is the TSO 50, which I'm surprised I didn't have that one yet. But yeah, I gotta turn around and buy that one eventually. But for now, we're driving the Porsche 919 Hybrid, one of the Le Mans winners of that time. Which it kind of shows. It kind of shows. It has high acceleration, but the speed not so much. It hits about 350 kilometers per hour, so not a whole lot in the tank at the end though. But that turning emphasis in the acceleration of what Porsche's known for really works at the end though. Because then they won a bunch of Le Mans events with this car at the end though. This car is just that good. So then this was basically the competitor to Toyota at the end though. But yeah, you basically got your other LMPs, and luckily this event is not a long event, it's only like 18 minutes. And of course you have the main rival event, or main rival opponent, which is the Peugeot 908 HDI FAP. Big old diesel LMP, kicking the crap out of us at the end of the day, because that thing is just way too broken for the competitive scene at the end of the day. If there's anything I have advantage to it, I think I just have better fuel consumption because of the hybrid system, and that's a maybe. But otherwise, yeah, that is definitely my main course of arrival in this event at the end of the day. Definitely one of the toughest ones to deal with. So I drive alongside the Alpine VGT there and the R18. Yeah, R18. Yeah, there's the previous one I drove. That was fun. Then again, I think this event is very mellow in comparison to the other ones, which is weird to say because it's a Suzuka circuit, but it kind of is, to be honest. I will say it did rain, but it didn't rain much. It rained enough to have a different feel to it slightly, but not enough to really change the strategy at the end. It's just slap on race medium tires and get there to victory. As you probably see, the hybrid system is just giving out too soon anymore. I think they need to lower the boost. You know, come to think of it, speaking of saying that, they should add that as a custom thing where you can tweak it to give it as much boost as you want to give it at the end of the day. Like if you want more longevity boost or you want more of a short boost at the end of the day. I think that should be tweaked when it comes to events and stuff, because that would be very handy at the end of the day. Because every hybrid system is technically different here. I wouldn't think the boost system is obviously the same. It would be kind of weird if it was. Yeah, here's a favorite right here, which is the Dodge SRT Tomahawk. I hope they make this LMP, because I know they're going like underneath a lot of shit right now. That Tomahawk would be the next step to make, I would say, for a supercar if Dodge ever made another supercar. Or I'm sorry, I mean street racing technologies, because yeah, when it comes to Dodge is a fun case anymore, because Dodge is basically the pedestrian brand, while Ram is the truck pedestrian brand, and then you have SRT, which is the performance brand. Oh, and then you just have straight up this Viper for brand. Cars these days, man, I gotta say, when they try to rebrand themselves because they need higher sales and shit, as usual. Then you got the classic Group 3s that, I hope I said that right, or Group C's, yeah, Group C's, R92 CP, and then the XJR9 from and then also the 787B I saw back there. You got the McLaren VGT here, the beautiful car. And then you got the 908 HDI FAP. It's a FAPin', alright. And then you got the L750R hybrid Peugeot, which this car is weird because as a VGT, it's kind of good, it seems. Although it's run on racing softs, so you guys, yeah, I will say no racing softs on this course. This course will eat your tires alive. There's so many turns, as you can see. So racing mediums is probably the better option, I would suggest. But yeah, you need this to meet. If anything, you need to make at least one pit stop. That's about it. But yeah, I was close to not having a pit stop at all, but I had like one lap left, so I decided to pit at some point here and such. But yeah, in terms of competition, not so bad, except for that Peugeot 908. That 908 is a frustrating beast to tame at the end of the day. Because yeah, if you drive the 908, you're going to have an easy experience. If you drive anything other than the 908, you're going to have either a mid experience or a low terrible experience. Pick your poison, as that goes. Because that Peugeot is just a champion. It's a champion of LMPs when it comes to I don't know if I want to say non-balancing, but it does definitely, I can definitely see a notice. So if anything Gran Turismo needs to do, they need to turn around and tweak the other opponents so they stay on par at least. Have some similarity, you know? Because yeah, that 908 sticks out like a sore thumb, and I hate that. I hate the fact it sticks out like a sore thumb. And no, I'm not saying nerf the 908. If you want the 908 to be competitive, so be it. But have the other opponents be as competitive as well, so that way you have a competition going on, you know? That's what I like seeing in these races. And when I see a big old divide going on, I mean, the L750R is kind of competitive there, but he's also running on softs, so I don't really count him for the most part. Heck, I think, is the 908 running on hards, I just realized? I hope he's not, because I feel embarrassed. Because yeah, that's the problem about these LMPs. They're so vastly neuteredly different, I would say. No, he's running me. It's okay. Thank God. I was gonna have a panic on that. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This thing goes. I feel ashamed. But no, this I would recommend run on racing mediums for this one, because there's a lot of corners when it comes to Suzuka circuit. Even with the rain, cooling the tires, because yeah, unless that rain does do that, it will cool the tires. If there's enough rain applied to the track at the end of the day. Because eventually your grip gets narrower and narrower when more water channels on the track at the end of the day, causing you to, I don't know if I want to say waveboard or whatever it's called. But basically it gets to the point where water just kind of controls you, then where you want to control it, as the thing goes. Yep, just driving to victory at the end of the day, because yeah, by longevity, I'm basically going to get him at the end of the day. It's just, he is also quick too, because he is also hitting around that 149.88 range I'm pulling there. He's just a bit off on that number. Like, I think he's in 0.6. I believe he's in like 149.6. Yeah, then you got your unusual customers I see there, which is the Nissan GTR LM Nismo, a weird car. One of the weirdest cars. Nissan was so experimental, and I don't know why they were being that experimental, but it was really dumb choices, I guess. Because the whole point of, you know, LMP was that you make a hypercar and, you know, drive it as fast as you can while keeping some standards that these standards, even nowadays, are still really good. But what Nissan decided to do was make an FF to the Nismo GTR, by the way, and gave it a hybrid system where it sometimes powers the back, which I don't understand the whole goods about that when your steering is also in the front. Because I will say steering becomes a big matter where you steer at in the car at the end of the day. If you're steering at the front and you're also powering the front, you're going to wear those tires even more. So yeah, it's just a very bad design at the end of the day. Where the R92 here being a champ, as it should be, because he is a champ. Even though by mechanical failure he failured a lot. That's the only problem on that car. But yeah, it did good things. It had a lot of maintenance problems. It did one Japan side though, if that matters. But I think it's more important that you win the European side. As the thing goes. Because yeah, I do love that there was a mention of, oh hey, yeah, I won the Japan side of bonds. Okay, that's good, but what about the European side? The more popular one. Cause yeah, that matters big time. If you can't be like, yeah, I can read off here. Luckily it's fine though. I didn't lost too much there. I was just like, oh god. I thought I kinda lost it there. It's like, no, I can still do this, let's keep at it. Yeah, it's just, yeah, this Pojo's a freaking champ, I gotta say, good god. Cause I don't wanna say chump because he's just driving at normal pace, to be honest, when it comes to this Porsche 98. This 98 is just that fucking good. It kicks ass. Yeah, if you don't believe me, go try it for a difference, because at the end of the day, that Porsche 908 is just as fast and slightly even better than any of these Group C's around here. The only one that's gonna kind of keep up with that 908 is the XJR9. The XJR9 is a legend. This thing goes. It's a very updated legend because that car went through a lot of transitions. And, you know, slight transitions, and they had to be changed very much at the end of the day. Matter of fact, there was like some cases where they had to use the lesser version just to win that course at the end of the day, because that version was too heavy or clunky and such. And, you know, people wonder why they don't want to stick, why they didn't turn around and stick the XJR9's motor in the XJ220, because probably particularly that reason at the end of the day, besides its high cost. The XJR9's motor is very heavy in regards. So it's a big V12. So yeah, nowadays I think, considering the 919 there, it has a V4 just to say, and that's crazy, the fact that it has that. But then again, when you look at the horsepower range, it's not a whole lot. It's like 456 horsepower I'm using at the end of the day. Cause yeah, I tried to go for 350, or not 350, but 400 kilometers. Didn't happen. It was super close, but it wasn't happening. If any other choice I had was maybe the 230 miles per hour, which I always thought about doing that one, but I also debate about doing that one because it's not really that official for a horsepower range or mile per hour range of that, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know what would be counted as a 230 miles per hour in terms of official. Like, what's something that crazy that hits that at the end of. I mean, I know LMPs hit that, but they hit like 2.6 actually. So they hit the 400 kilometers range. Sort of. Although I'm hitting like 250. So. Or some of them I would hit 250 at the end of what I'm hitting, so. But yeah, that's basically our competitors at the end of the day and such. Yeah, just driving around Suzuka Circa as quick as I can. Hopefully get to that Hojo 908. That 908 is a stubborn competitor, I gotta say. Luckily, he is losing fuel faster than I am in the process, and that is gonna be a big detriment. Yep, he just did it. So thus, I technically win at this point. I'm just showing the dashboards of the cars at this point. Yeah, even with this much time, I have to like try to show everything in the process. But yeah, he pitted right there. It's like, oh, thus I win. Well, sort of. I will say I also have to pit too eventually here, but I don't technically need as much fuel as he needs, because when it comes to racing, if you're not only you need to pit in to get fuel, I'll say, but you also need to get more fuel than the previous one to stick around for the victory, so say. So like for example, he had to get 42. I don't even think I need 42. I think I need like just another quarter amount if I recall once I pit in here, so and such. Because yeah, he needed 42 for a tank. Because yeah, because that's one thing to note when you pit into. You also need a higher fuel amount too, depending on your range at the end of it, which is a big detriment when it comes to the event at the end of it. So. Yep, now just drive this to victory at the end of the day. The old 919 hybrid. But yeah, as the thing goes, first time I drove this, and yeah, it's a pretty fun car. I can definitely see the appeal of how quick this thing moves. It's just really sad though when the AI drives it, they drive it terribly though, because he's like sitting in the far back, as you see there in the line at the end of it. I say line loosely because the 908 just sits alone. Because he's too freaking fast for the competition. Yep, and there's me pitting, which yeah, I sit at 12. He pitted at 4 on top of it. Cause yeah, all those calculations matter at the end of the day. It's how quick you're gonna be around. Or how quick you're gonna be getting done with the race at the end of the day. Let's see where I end it. Yeah, just 25. I just needed 25. Good lord. Yeah, here's a night lamp. Or on night lamp, because yeah, I always love when it comes to lap counters, because yeah, you have the 9th lap, you have the 10th lap here, because it's always hard to judge, like, okay, so do I need to like, because it feels like reaching within the race. No, it's not reaching, you have to pass the 10 out of 10 lap. So reminder when it comes to endurance racing, remember that, because that is going to be an important thing. It's not reaching the lap, it's hitting, or it's not just reaching the lap, it's also beating that lap. So you beating lap 10, not reach lap 10. So there's always like an incorrection when it comes to people saying it reached. Well, I say sort of on that because it depends on how they say it. If it says, oh, they just currently reached the 10th lap, okay, that's fine. If all they need to do is reach the 10th lap, that's incorrect. They need to beat the 10th lap. As the thing goes. Just a fun humor I came across sometimes. Yeah, R18 TDI 2011 is in the back. Of course, I'm not surprised. So yeah, that car has some fundamental problems as well. I guess so. And the best part, that's supposed to be the competitor to the 908 HDI fab, which, oh boy. Cause yeah, that's the other one. Cause yeah, the 908 does have a sibling of rivalry, which is the R18 TDI, which is, by terms of performance, not equal at all. It's crazy. It's very crazy on that matter. So yeah, the 908 HDI Fab 2010 is definitely a legend among Gran Turismo, especially, I mean, it's been there since Gran Turismo 5, for God's sake. And it's still here. That's the greatest part. Oh, and the XJR. Just put it. Goodbye, XJR. But yeah, here's where it gets interesting on the last lap, because I'm just seeing a battle between the SRT Tomahawk and the McLaren, which is, that is so cool. Let's see a little battle going on at the last of the lap here. But yeah, I would love to say much about the Porsche 919 hybrid. I don't know a whole lot about the 919 as of right now. Besides being a fun car and being one of the Le Mans winners through the info I saw, that's really about it, what I got going on for it. Otherwise, besides using a V4 motor, that's the most unusual part. But then again, LMPs at this point started doing things like that. It's just very odd things like that. So. But the HDI Fab, I think, uses a V10 diesel or something like that. Because yeah, that's the crazy part. The 908 also uses a diesel, which I can see why, because of high fuel count when you use a diesel motor, because diesel motors are literally better than gas when it comes to that. The only thing diesel is bad is fumes. They're terribly bad about fumes. Then you got the McLaren VT just strutting along as it tries to hold the line. But I am about to hit victory here, and yeah, I will say I did check the end. Yeah, the McLaren still wins at the end of it. So for those that won, because he just blocked the Tomahawk throughout. I think I even quick checked here or something like that. But no, that's basically wraps up for this event at the end of it. So overall, not a bad event if you drive that at 350 kilometers per hour. What's up? In terms of build. So let's see what prize we got. Which, if I recall, I think I had a bunch of tickets. So pardon me on this, but yeah, I just had a bunch of tickets stacked up at one point. Forgot to hit those because yeah, I have three daily driving ones, and then I have the 3 weeklies. Yeah, as you can see though, pocket change, oh yeah! That's the saying goes. That's the saying goes. Yep, so just get all these beautiful tickets, even though beautiful I say loosely. But then we got 5-star one, which 5-star usually nets a good reward when it comes to these. I don't know if you could ever get pocket change for this or not. I can't recall. But there's the 5 gold bars. I'll take it. That's enough to pay for any GT3 car, I believe. Or 4. I think, no, 4, I think it's 350. The GT3s are 500. And then GT2s are like 1 million. And then I think LMPs, yeah, in case you wondered about the Porsche 919, it was like $3 million for that car. Which yeah, it felt like I was going to get another one there, but then I realized, like, wait, that's the Audi one. But instead, I got this thing again. Time to sell this thing again, because, good God, I got so many of these stupid cars. So yeah, Italian design, you made one of the most ugliest looking freaking sports cars I've ever seen. But I will admit though, high horsepower, so that might be nice for some things. So let's see on that. But that basically wraps that. I'll see you guys all next time. You guys take care for this week's. Yeah, because I'd say for this week it's probably like Frank B or something like that. So I hope you enjoyed what you watched here. Until for now, just enjoyed this teaser where I beat the 600 WTC with the Corvette ZR1. Because I was curious, like, how well does it do? It's not that bad in comparison in terms of times compared to what I did originally for the 600 WC. It hit 209, but this hits like 210.5, so it's not too far off. Not too far off at the end there. Oh, or 210.6 there actually. So until then, people, I'll see you guys all next time. You take care and ciao. Oh yeah, by the way, it shocks me the fact that the Supra's in third place, because I never seen that till now. So they must have been tweaking them. So then, ciao again.